thing. I'll point at you when we're ready to start.
Cool.
You're listening to Reading Between the Lines with your host, Drew Parker.
Self-destruct sequence activated.
You're listening to the RBTL podcast. I am your host, Drew Parker, with my co-host, John Sterritt. You want to say hi, John?
How's it going?
And our fact check extraordinaire, or random fact extraordinaire, Scott Beal, sitting over there in the corner like a weirdo, but that's fine.
It's okay. Podcast listeners can't see him right now, so we're good.
Thankfully, they can't see me because I promise I'm going to radio because of my face. But start things off, kind of want to say thank you to our listeners.
Let's go.
I think it was, I posted about this Monday, I believe. Yes, maybe yesterday. The days are starting to blur together. But we are past 300 subscribers on iTunes now. I think as of about an hour ago when I checked it, we're at 309. So congratulations to both of us on that.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
It was y'all are loving on John because that sounded weird. I didn't like to say that, but
dude, I appreciate the subscribers.
There was about 150 before John hopped on, and then ever since John hopped on, the quality of the audio has gone up, and y'all are probably less annoyed with just me. So
I think it helps to not talk to yourself, to have someone to actually talk to about this kind of thing.
As opposed to, in terms of other podcast news, got a big one. This won't start for this podcast.
Okay.
But I was contacted by Blue Apron the other day.
Blue Apron.
The other day, meaning yesterday. They are a home delivery meal service.
Cool.
About a sponsorship. Don't know what it's going to be like. Don't know if I don't know if I'm going to be how much I'm being paid, or if we are going to be getting paid. But they called me and they just said that we're gonna see the trends of your podcast over the next week or so, and then if we like the progress, then
friends and family share this.
Yes, because I don't know. Again, I don't know how much we're gonna get paid, but money is something more than we're getting right now. But yeah, Blue Apron hit me up the other day and wants to sponsor this podcast. Again, I don't know what that means or what it's going to look like, but it's just what it is.
That's pretty exciting. Are you ready to get this thing
actually,
revved up?
I have one more thing. As for you're ridiculous.
All right, tell me what's up.
As for other bigger news, honestly, I had a proposal meeting this morning, and my leg is shaking because I'm so freaking excited. And I can't disclose the station yet, but somebody offered me we're going to record the podcast like normal. Okay. But they're going to take the podcast from iTunes and play it over an actual radio station.
On live airwaves.
So we'll see that's pretty freaking cool.
I'm pretty excited about that too.
So we'll see where that goes. Other than that, that's our big news. I appreciate everybody for the love and support. Again, we're over 300 subscribers. I believe about 250 to 260 of that is iTunes, and the other however many that is on SoundCloud. So I appreciate.
So you can see on SoundCloud, iTunes, and on YouTube as well. We have these.
SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube. If you don't know SoundCloud or iTunes, you can go to our Facebook page. You'll see it there. It'll take you to SoundCloud, but if you don't know how to get to SoundCloud, it's on my Facebook page first.
Perfect.
Other than that, let's dive into some sports.
All right, let's go straight to the NFL.
All right. The Dallas Cowboys played the New York Giants on primetime Sunday Night Football on NBC. The final score was 19-3 Dallas. As far as some stats, Dak was his usual brilliance. He hasn't slowed down at all. Sophomore slumped my tail. But he looked as good as ever. He went 24 for 39, 268 in terms of passing yards, 1 touchdown. That is a whopping 7 yards per attempt. We also had
pretty good.
129 rushing yards. Zeke was 104 of that. 24 carries, which is a lot of carries for 100 yards, but it's 100 yards. He also had 5 receptions for 36 yards. And our defense forced 1 fumble. As far as the game, it was weird. I love football as much as the next person, or if not a lot more. But watching the game, I almost got bored. and I hate to say that because it's a Cowboy game. I love the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But it wasn't flash. It was just, there was some flashy plays that you'll see on Sports Center and whatnot with the Beasley behind the back catch and whatnot.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of one of those Alabama games where you're like, it's so generic,
exactly.
but it's so effective.
And I mean, our defense dominated. We won 19-3. We didn't even let up a touchdown. But I got bored because it was like there's nothing flashy. It was a ground pound, like dominate them on the D and then just score. Because we didn't get, obviously, I think Dan Bailey had 4 field goals, one of those two. I can't do quick math right now. But Dan Bailey is obviously automatic. So he's automatic. And what else is there in terms of other stats? Receiving yards, Williams 6 receptions, 68 yards. He led the team, which is surprising because he actually went out on the first play with a not an ankle sprain. I thought it was gonna be an ankle sprain, but he was running his route and he was right behind the defender and he stepped on his ankle and it hurt me because I saw that and it did not look fun.
That could be a scary injury too.
But he came back. A series after ended up with 6 receptions, 68 yards, like I said. Dez wasn't hugely a factor because the Giants' secondary is amazing.
Seemed like they almost soloed him out.
The Giants' secondary is one of the best parts of their team. That isn't saying much because the Giants are pretty trash everywhere else. But Dez had 2 receptions for 43 yards. One of those came in a 30-yard play, so that just tells you he didn't have a whole lot of production. Janoris Jenkins was the guy on him, and Janoris Jenkins is, I don't remember what year he is. He's not a rookie, but he's not a veteran by any means. But he had Dez on lock. Witten, 7 receptions, 59 yards, and was responsible for Dak's lone touchdown throw on a little quick 5-yard slant. Cole Beasley, 3 receptions, 32 yards. He had that highlight where he bobbled the ball and he caught it. He showed OBJ up because he bobbled it and he caught it on his nameplate, which was nuts. I was freaking out.
Yeah.
As for our defense, DeMarcus Lawrence, or as I like to say, D-Law, I'll probably be referring to him as that more often than not.
It's a pretty cool nickname.
Right. 5 tackles, 4 solo, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for losses. Jalen Smith, who I'm not going to get into his whole story now because we got a lot to cover in this podcast. But he is one of the greatest comeback stories I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
He had an injury in his bowl game. When the whole discussion of should you play in your bowl game or not was going around, that he got injured and he kind of justified a lot of people not playing in their bowl game.
But he's back.
He's back, and he had 7 tackles, 4 solos. Sean Lee, or as I like to say, Sean Leesus, because he saves us. 8 tackles, 7 solo, 1 for loss. As for the game itself, beyond the stats, again, like I said, we had a dominant defense. Again, it was boring. It was old school Dallas football, not the 8-8 mediocre crap that our generation is used to. It was the 90s Cowboys.
There's some sort of stability in that style of play
absolutely.
as well.
And if it's a boring 3 hours, but we come out with a W, I'm fine with that. Because I know one thing, the playoffs get exciting, and if we're there, that's all I care about. As for the Giants, no Odell Beckham Jr. He has a high ankle sprain, and he's out. I haven't heard a ruling on him next week. It's still great that we're recording this on Wednesday, so the new week is coming up quickly. But I haven't heard a ruling on him for week 2 of the NFL season. He is a drama queen, and I have strong opinions on him, but it's fine. He's their only offense. Quick slant, 5 yards, and you hope and pray that somebody tackles him because he can go off for 60. Yeah, that's their only offense. As for Eli Manning, he is the most mediocre-looking 2-time Super Bowl winner I've ever seen. His days with the Giants are numbered. As you know, Davis Webb, who is an old tech quarterback, is now on the Giants. And Davis Webb is not active right now. He did not dress for Sunday's game. I don't know where he's on the depth chart, but he's not.
I don't think he's second, is he?
He didn't have pads on. So he wasn't available to play. But I'm telling you right now, Eli Manning. Days in New York are numbered. I don't know if I can say the same for Ben McAdoo, but Ben McAdoo, who is an offensive genius, hasn't been able to produce much with Eli Manning. Eli Manning doesn't have he can't throw the ball downfield much. He's not very mobile in the pocket. And they have the run game, so he has to throw. He's slinging the ball all around, and it's just he can't anymore. So that's that. As for other NFL storylines, you will not, for fellow Tech fans who listen to this, which I imagine a lot of y'all are, cool your jets on seeing Mahomes. You're not going to see Mahomes for a while.
Smith showed out.
Granted, when you trade up that far to get Mahomes as a 10th overall pick, he's going to be a investment that you're going to use later.
For sure, this is long term.
As for now, you're not going to see him because Alex Smith, as a lot of y'all know, went to Foxborough and beat the Patriots in their home turf, which is, in terms of difficulty, is next to impossible, it seems like these days. And he went off 28 for 35, 368 yards, 4 touchdowns. I'll take those stats all day. And as for the flip side, bad QBs, Andy Dalton of the Bengals had...
Who the Texans are actually playing next week.
Yes.
I'll get to that in a second.
That's going to be a trash bowl, just so you know. He had 4 interceptions and a fumble. 0.6 QBR. Not 6. 0.6 QBR.
How is that even possible?
I don't understand. In terms of your beloved Texans, Tom Savage, fun fact on him, he is the, you want to collect your breath real quick or sit down? You're already sitting down. It's fine. He's the first quarterback with over 100 pass attempts without, he's the first NFL quarterback in history with over 100 pass attempts without a touchdown pass.
I think it's safe to say he's found his ceiling.
Right.
Unfortunately,
it's not very high.
Actually, that means that didn't Deshaun Watson actually get named the starter for this coming game?
I think I saw it too.
I think that was today that they
right
on Wednesday today.
So he was benched in this first half or at half. Deshaun Watson came in the second half. Deshaun Watson didn't have a whole lot of success in terms of coming back and making it a competitive game, but he did lead them to. In the opening drive, he led them to a touchdown.
I think the Jaguars had a franchise-high 10 sacks in one game.
That's awful.
And so that says more about your offensive line than anything. Your quarterbacks were not holding onto the ball a long time. They were getting destroyed within 2 seconds in that pocket. So there's a bigger problem. You can't just have a good quarterback to fix this.
Oh, right.
The O-line has to come together.
And I think, was it the first podcast we did together who I was talking to? No, I think I was talking to another friend. Is that... In terms of the fundamentals of football, there's a red flag that I can always tell if somebody says they know sports but doesn't really know sports.
Okay.
Is when they say, just get rid of the ball. Okay? That is a red flag.
Like from the quarterback?
Yes. If somebody says that, I go, I'm not judging. I guess I am judging. I'm just saying that I'm not judging.
It's an easy way to tell if they don't understand.
It's an easy way to tell that they don't know the dynamics of the game, because there's blitz packages, there's coverage packages, there's what the safeties are doing. There's a lot more that goes into the game than just the quarterback getting rid of it. No offense to anybody who's that way.
It helps to have a quick release, but that's not the only thing.
If you're going there just for a social event, all more power to you. As long as you're yelling at the game, then that's fine. But in terms of there's a lot more that goes into a productive offense without just being the quarterback. As for some other storylines of the NFL, the Browns. I never thought I'd be talking about them on the podcast, but they played a hard-fought game against the Steelers, lost 18-21, which apparently there's a big. This is a weird word, but a big tizzy. I know it's a word. I just don't use it often.
People are up in arms about something.
They're up in arms about how well they played even in a loss for opening week.
Yeah, from a rookie quarterback as well.
Right, for sure. As far as storylines for them, their center, Joe Thomas, he is 4 snaps away from having 10,000 consecutive snaps.
You should get a trophy just for not being hurt for that period of time.
And it's kind of sad because I don't know how many years that it counts to.
And he's pretty good too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't know how many years 10,000 snaps is, but he has never been 1-0. They have lost every opener since he's been on the team.
That's crazy. And he's played behind or in front of, I guess, like 18 quarterbacks,
something like that. It's nuts.
That's ridiculous.
The infamous jersey going on Facebook, how every name you can cross off. I love following that. As for the Colts, sorry, I don't know if I picked it up, but I hit my paper. They looked awful. I mean, awful.
They're without Andrew Luck?
Yes, Andrew Luck is the MVP. He's not the MVP of the league, but he is the most valuable player of the league.
It reminds me of the time when Peyton Manning was gone from there, and they like had a sucky season. That's how much Andrew Luck means to them.
They lost 46-9 against the LA Rams. The LA Rams. Granted, I could read my words, and the LA Rams could be the Super Bowl champion this year. I don't know.
Nah.
But when you give up 46 if you give up over 35 to any NFL team, you got a problem. Because NFL is not a high-scoring league, as we very well know.
They have much less plays than, say, the Big 12.
They lost to Blake Bortles. Sorry, that was not the right. They lost to a quarterback that completed 11 passes, which is nuts. As for the Texans, I don't know if you wanted to get a little input on that game.
For the Texans?
Yeah.
One thing Scott was showing me just a second ago is that Cooper Kupp, the guy who was a receiver for Eastern Washington, actually played for the Rams, and I think he had the most catches or most yards on the team for the day. And so he's a stud.
I don't know if you caught this. You were looking over to the screen when I said
it,
but they lost to they're playing the Jags. So that's Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles is a pretty awful quarterback. No,
he's not done well recently.
And he completed 11 passes and he won. But as for the Texans, again, they lost 29-7 against the Jags. They pretty. I mean, I would love to see them win after Hurricane Harvey.
It was almost like the team that had the hurricane humming had more things to gain than the team who's playing for the recent hurricane.
I saw that video of J.J. Watt with the Texas flag coming out of
that was pretty epic.
That was amazing.
That was like the most patriotic American thing ever.
As for another quarterback in the league, Jared Goff, who was last year's first-round pick or second-round pick. I think
he's up there.
He was one of the first two. I don't remember.
Yeah. First was him, then Carson.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying that, oh my gosh, he's so good now. He's under the right regime, and he's under the, they actually built an O-line. Well, let me just pump the brakes for any of the Rams fans who are listening. That was his game on Sunday was like your honeymoon after you get married. It was, and that's a weird comparison, but hear me out here.
Yeah, tell me about it.
He played in 80-degree weather with no wind. Okay. That's like, okay, this is going to be a weird analogy. I hope I don't slip up on this. But like on your honeymoon, everything's great. There's I mean, I've never been on a honeymoon, believe me. I don't know from experience, but in terms of what people say about it, it's the best party. I mean, okay, in terms of,
it's pretty good.
Again, this statement is flawed also, but it's one of the best parts of your marriage. Which is still false in my mind. But anyway, I'll get off. I'll get off my Christian soapbox.
Okay.
But just you play in 80-degree weather with no wind.
So perfect conditions.
Right. Come to me when you play in 40-degree weather in Seattle with the rain coming down sideways, and you have 80,000 people yelling in your ear.
That's when you can test the true character of a quarterback. Is in those hard times. Yeah.
So that was a weird analogy.
Bad weather.
But I've gotten out of that now.
All right.
As for the Bengals, I touched on Andy Dalton having a .6 QB rating. Granted, I didn't dive into QBR to find out what stats goes into that, but I know if you have .6, you're pretty trash.
That's fair to say.
4
interceptions.
4 interceptions and a lost fumble. It was nuts. They lost to the Falcons 20-0. Sorry, I forgot how to pronounce his name. Flacco.
The Ravens. Not the Falcons.
What did I say? The Falcons? Oh, I'm sorry. I meant the Ravens.
The Ravens, yeah.
Two birds.
Different bird. You're good.
And Flacco completed 9 passes. 9 passes and you win 20-0. Are you kidding me? How garbage is that?
There was a quarterback named Peyton Manning that won a Super Bowl, and he wasn't even the best quarterback on that field.
That is a good point.
And he's one of my favorites, so,
As for other games...
he just got to get it out of his hand faster.
Right, for sure. As for other games in the league that I care about, Packers and the Seahawks, I will admit that I took my Sunday afternoon nap during this game. So I saw the very first of it and the very last of it. But the Packers won. I believe it was 17-9. Crazy game. It was very low scoring in terms of what you expect out of Aaron Rodgers. But they won. In terms of the NFC East division, Eagles and Redskins that is, I know the Eagles won. I believe it was 20-19. I'm sorry, I'm off. 30-17. Thank you, Scott.
Glad to have him here.
And Carson Wentz was looking good, at least for that game. I don't know. Obviously, he's one of those rookies like Dak, where you never know. People are waiting for that sophomore slump. And
hasn't happened yet.
Right. As for the flip side, Kirk Cousins, he's getting paid a lot of money, but he can look mediocre at times, and he certainly looked mediocre on Sunday. As for the week 1, I guess we'll segue to week 2. And I don't know. I didn't look around the league to see who's playing each other in terms of the teams that I care about.
So you're gonna do a quick preview of just some of these games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do that.
At least for the Cowboys and Broncos. Cowboys are a 3-point favorite currently. The Broncos have a good run defense, but Zeke can make a 1-yard gain into a 3-yard gain any day of his life. Now, there is some Zeke news looming in the air. We'll get to it if we have time, but if we skip over it, no big deal. It's confusing and it's full of legal jargon. I mean, I get it, but y'all might not if you're not familiar with the process. So if we get time to touch on that, we will. But I'll skip over that for now. Like I said, Dak still looks good as ever. I don't know. We'll see about a sophomore slump, but it's not looking like it now. And Denver has no true QB. Simeon looked good Monday night against.
He filled the role.
Right. He looked good Monday night, but he's not a leader. He's a I don't want to say fill-in because they drafted him high, but he's a manager. And then in terms of notable injuries, like I said, Andrew Luck is out. He has already been ruled out for week 2, and they're not talking at all about when he might be in. So who knows about that? David Johnson, the running back for the Cardinals, he's out with a dislocated wrist, and he'll be out for the rest of the season. He'll need surgery. David Johnson is a running back that I know a lot of people have on the fantasy team. So he'll be out for the season. It's weird how a dislocated wrist can cost you a season, but he has to have surgery on it somehow.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
And then Eric Berry, the Chiefs, is he a corner or is he a linebacker? Or
he's a defensive back, isn't he?
I think you're right. He has a ruptured Achilles tendon. He'll be out for the year.
Yeah, that sucks.
But that comes. I mean, I hate to say he's good that he's hurt, but it comes with good timing because he just signed a huge contract the other day. and yes, he got hurt, but it's like he's still getting his money and he's still gonna be back. Let's see. As for some fun stats, Alex Smith and Sam Bradford were the only 2 QBs last week with over 90%, not 90%, sorry, 90 QB rating. I think Dak was in the high 60s. Efficient game, but obviously, that doesn't scream at you by any means. And then 5 things I learned. I kind of already touched on a few of these already, but Dak is for real. Andrew Luck is MVP. I mean, he won't win it, but he is. If he's not there, the Colts will crash.
They need him.
Right. Stafford is worth every penny that he's getting paid. There was a website that I saw called the Daculator. And Dak's getting paid, I believe, $540,000 a year right now. Matt Stafford is getting paid $51 million a year right now.
That's crazy.
Which is nuts. I can't even think about that much money. I can't even think about having Dak's contract, much less Stafford's contract.
Yeah.
But there's a website called the Daculator that you can type in different quarterbacks around the league and see how long they have to play to match Dak's salary. Guess how many minutes Matt Stafford has to play to match Dak's salary?
Just a few.
21.
21 minutes.
21 minutes of the season, and he matches Dak's salary.
It's like when Mayweather fights. How many seconds?
Nuts.
So I could retire.
And then in terms of the Bengals, Marvin Lewis is done in Cincy. We're kind of going all over the map in terms of the NFL here, but bear with me. Marvin Lewis is done. I think is done in Cincy after this year. He came in with the kind of chaotic franchise, and in a chaotic franchise, they don't expect much right away. But he's getting to the point where he needs to start producing something, and he hasn't clearly, because Carson Palmer did what he did Sunday. Other than that, I think we can transition to the world and the wacky world of college football.
College football.
Jeez, it's
that's where we're probably going to spend most of our bulk of this
absolutely.
podcast is in college sports. All right,
as,
what first for college?
As for a rundown, the AP top 10, Oklahoma went to Ohio State, which we will touch on majorly.
We'll get to that right after this.
AP Top 10 goes Bama, Oklahoma, Clemson, USC, and this is from 1 to 10. Bama, Oklahoma, Clemson, USC, Penn State, Washington, Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma State, and Wisconsin. The coaches poll that not a lot of, it's still a poll that's valid, but not a lot of people follow it. I just thought I'd throw it in here. Coaches poll from 1 to 10 is Bama, Clemson, Oklahoma, USC, Penn State, Washington, Michigan, Oklahoma State, Ohio State, and FSU. So a little difference in there, but in the long run, it won't mean a thing because probably 3 out of the 4 of these teams that are in the top 4 right now aren't going to make the playoffs, which actually that's kind of a hot take.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I think that actually the 4 teams that would make it at the season end right now, I think 3 would make it in the playoffs. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Other notable rankings, K-State's at 18. They're a sneaky little garbage city. Not garbage city, sorry. Garbage university. Sorry.
No, but they are consistent and they have good coaching.
Gosh,
the necromancer.
They're annoyingly consistent. It's like
Bill Snyder.
We'd be ecstatic if Tech was 18, but yet they're flying under the radar at 18. TCU's at 20, and then good old Mike Leach, Washington State. He comes in at 21.
Dude, that was a nuts game last week.
They came back.
I watched the end of it, and it was like 1:30 in the morning, and they were in triple overtime and won it or whatever it was. It's nuts.
Let's see. Where else are we going?
Let's go straight to the Baker Mayfield thing. So tell me what happened, and then let's see what we say about this.
Well, Baker Mayfield, Scott, you might want to score check me here because I don't know the final score of that game. But Oklahoma beat Ohio State in the Horseshoe, which is in Columbus, and that it is Ohio State Stadium. Where is it? Oklahoma beat Ohio State 31-16. Thank you, Scott. So that's a pretty good.
That's a pretty good beatdown.
That's kind of what they did to Oklahoma last year. Baker Mayfield, he's kind of okay. This is gonna make you think, what the heck are you going with this? But Baker Mayfield's kind of like me. Don't laugh at that, you punk.
Is he a savage?
He is absolutely. Scott, shut up.
He rolled his eyes.
Me and him are highly competitive, except he has the athletic ability to back it up. I particularly do not, unless it's Newcomb or Sam volleyball. But he is a very competitive guy. Chip on his shoulder. I'm surprised it's not broken off yet by how many chips have come off of that. But he. It was an emotional game. He's been thinking about this rematch all year. I have no doubt about that. And he had a post-game interview. I believe all the Ohio State fans have already gone to the locker room. So that's the best side of this thing.
So tell me what he did at the end of this game that was so crazy.
He went over to the cheerleaders and he grabbed a flag.
The OU flag, by the way.
Yes. And he unrolled it and whatnot. He took like a half victory lap. He
it was pure adrenaline.
Right. He kind of came around the horseshoe and then he came into midfield, and all his teammates gathered around him, and he went swoop, 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 and stuck it in the middle of the O.
It was crazy because I don't know. I see that as disrespectful. What do you think?
I see that as absolute. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna come out with saying that I find it completely classless. Because I would not want in a million years a Tech player to do that. Because even if we hate Mayfield, or we hate Texas, or we hate any other of the 9 schools in the Big 12.
So first of all, what is the background? What is the reason that we hate Baker Mayfield? What's his history with Texas Tech?
He is. I'll let you cover that. You got that down pretty well.
All right.
Go ahead.
So basically, I like to call him Trader Mayfield. Mm-hmm. He comes in to Tech knowing that we were in a situation we were going to rely on a true freshman quarterback. So he walks on to Tech and expects a scholarship in his first semester as a walk-on true freshman. He doesn't get it. They said they were going to give it to him when it comes to spring.
Right.
But he decided he wants to hitch out of town and say that the whole program sucks, our coach is a liar, and basically trashes the entire school of Texas Tech without giving them a chance. But what I see that what he really did is use Tech as a stepping stone to get to the next place to where he wanted to go, which was Oklahoma. So essentially all he did was use it as a platform to get that early playing time, that exposure, so that when he did transfer over, he'd be able to make that team.
Right.
So that's basically him playing us and then blaming us.
Ooh.
Which was a really tough thing to do.
Trademark.
So hashtag Trader Mayfield.
You disgust me.
Oh, gosh.
He does disgust me.
Absolutely. I want Oh boy, but
yeah, what he did was definitely not the most respectful. He
Right.
said he did it because that's something they do when they defeat Texas.
yeah, but it's like you gotta. Know
But he also said it
difference.
wasn't meant to be disrespectful.
It's a tradition in that Red River. I think it's called the Red River rivalry.
Yeah.
Because that is not PC apparently because of the gun violence and but it's fine. But
River rivalry.
he swiped the flag and stuck it in the O, and a lot of people were making fun of him on Twitter because he stuck it into a turf field and it fell right over. Did you notice that? The flag didn't stand up at all. He stuck it into a turf field and there was no stick in that. It's not real grass.
Yeah, I mean,
there.
the apology sounded like he was only sorry he got in trouble for
Right.
it.
And I mean, I don't think he's even sorry. I think it was his agent or his coach or whoever's looking out for his NFL career made him come out to say that and make him look better.
Yeah, he would have blamed the turf if the flag
Right.
would have hit him in the face. You know, like he's just that kind of guy right now.
So it's
But that's okay.
We'll
save the hate for
right.
later.
Like I don't care how much I hate any of the 9 teams in the conference. I would never want a Tech player to. It's kind of like cursing on the fight song. You don't want to paint the university in that light. And I would hate for one of our players to do that and paint our university in a bad light doing that.
Yeah.
Because I'm all for a competitive edge, but you got to know a line. You
can celebrate, you can jump and down,
Right.
up and down all you want, but
And
you
I
don't
mean-
go in the middle of the field and do something
Right.
ridiculous, kind of like just showing
if
off.
you
Like
wanted, if it was
that.
at their stadium, but it was an away game. Like there's no reason for that.
It speaks louder just to defeat
Right.
them and
And-
walk off like it's
and I mean,
something you do every week, you know?
I don't know if you brought it up. If you did, I didn't hear it. But
What's up?
he did mention the fact that part of the motivation was that they were singing their fight song on their field after they beat them last year. But it's like every team does that.
He's powered by that
every away
rage.
game, every road team on a game will go over to the student section and sing their fight
Here's
song.
Scott.
Do we not hear Boomer Sooner literally
Oh.
every week on Fox, ABC,
Absolutely.
NBC, CBS, whatever plays sports? You hear Boomer
Right.
Sooner
Oh, yeah.
every single week. So that to me, like, you the fight song. Okay, you need to check yourself because
Right.
OU does that every single week. They'll
Absolutely.
play. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they played Boomer Sooner while we were playing our fight song.
Oh
a
yeah,
couple years ago.
absolutely. I remember that like the back of my hand.
And you can't have a chip on your shoulder when you're like the best
Right.
team in the Big 12. Like, oh no, no one cares about
And I mean,
us.
he.
Yeah, you're not. You're a perennial
I don't know his
powerhouse.
background, but chips on your shoulder comes from your childhood. I have a huge chip on my shoulder. Personally, I don't know what caused it.
You're a West Texas kid. That's
I've
what's
never
up.
gone to counseling for that by any means, but I know I have one because it comes out when I compete, and I hate losing, and then I hate losing. So when I lose, I want to play again and win, and then when I win, I love winning so much that I want to play again and win. So it's an awful cycle. But
Okay.
as for other
So
storylines, in
yeah,
the Big
another
12,
Storyline. Baylor.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Dumpster fire.
That's basically all you need to know. Oh yeah, dumpster fire. No, if you don't count their bowl game last year, they are on an 8-game losing streak. They have
That's sad.
6 from last season, and then this year with Liberty and UTSA. These are not teams that are dominant in any regard.
Who did they beat in the bowl game?
Boise
Boise
State.
State. What was the score of
Thanks,
that?
Scott. He can look it up real
That's
quick.
fine.
While he's
we'll
doing
buy us
that,
some time.
they haven't celebrated a regular season victory. They haven't celebrated a regular season victory in about 11
Right.
months since
'Cause-
October 15th last year.
Because last year, remember, they went 6-0, and then they finished 6-6.
That's crazy.
You
It's-
are one pathetic loser.
That's pretty much them. And,
That's pretty accurate.
And Scott pulled it up. They beat Boise State in the bowl game 31-12. Yeah, 12. That's pretty good drumming. But again, that's the only highlight of the last half year.
You know, there was a similar season that Tech had actually in 2013. They started out with a really strong
Right.
start, and then they
It was
lost
like,
their
4-5-0.
they lost their 5 straight, and then they won the bowl game, just like Baylor did.
Wow.
But then the next season in 2014, we went 4-8.
Right.
So that's any indication. Baylor maybe best case scenario coming up around 4 or 5 wins this year, which is nuts compared to how they've been doing.
Scott had a hot take when we were prepping for the podcast, saying that they weren't going to win a game this season.
There's a legitimate chance that they will not win a game. They play Kansas at Kansas, and for one, when you watch college football, like anything can happen.
Right.
And I think Kansas, I don't even know what their losing streak is at right now.
Oh, I think they're.
Well, no, I mean they beat Texas last year, so they did have a win.
And they won the first game of the season this year too. I don't know what they did last
that
week.
take was so hot.
So I mean that would be me. It's like they have a legitimate chance of going winless, of going 0-12. Like I'm not playing. I do think.
But
that
see,
they could.
the same way that you say that anything the same way that you say that they played Kansas and anything can happen. I say that reverse. Anything can happen. Like if you have a good game 60 minutes long, if you play a really good 30 minutes of a game and get out to a huge lead at home, you can blow that second half and still win the game.
Oh, A&M.
Right.
Yeah, A&M.
Hot take. But it's they play Duke this Saturday. What time's that game?
That game is at 11:30 a.m.
Oh, I'm gonna be watching
An
that
AM game
because our game is until 7, which I can't wait for. But we'll get into that after we.
Yeah, we will get there.
But I'll be have my eyes glued to how pathetic they look because I think they're gonna lose to Duke also. 3-0 going into conference play.
That's fair to say.
That hurts a lot.
I would have said that was a hot take probably before the season, but now not at all.
Now let me ask you: if I say over under 1.5 wins, what do you give Baylor?
All right, Scott.
Is that an easy under for you?
I'm gonna say
Crazy.
I think that their max wins this year is 3. I'm gonna say they get 2, so I'll go take the over.
Okay.
I'll take the over on that. I think they get 2 wins.
I think they get Kansas and they get lucky at home.
Wow. All right.
And then we'll hit on my favorite team in the world, Texas Longhorns.
Yeah.
That's a bold-faced lie, but it's fine. What do you make of them, John?
The Longhorns are at best inconsistent.
Yes.
And we don't know what to expect
Absolutely.
when they're coming around. They're playing this team called USC. You know, there's like some sort of history behind
It's
that.
gonna be-
I feel like they played in a big game or something before.
I was so mad that game was at the same time as our game because I would have my eyes glued on that game if we weren't playing at the same time. So for those of y'all who don't know, which I assume y'all do know because I rub this in people's faces whenever I get the chance to, but they give up 51 at home to Maryland, lose 51-41. First week of the season. Last week they beat San Diego State University. San Jose. Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Mark my words. Not my words. Scratch my words.
Mark my words.
Mark my words. Let me be wrong. They win 56-0, and that is kind of startling to me because I don't know if I almost said Charlie Strong. I don't know if Tom Herman took a switch to the back of every player on that roster and just hit him in the butt a few times.
There was a fire lit.
But
I'll tell you
boy,
that.
they were. I didn't watch the game because I didn't care enough to. But they were on fire. That kind of scares me because now you don't know what the real Texas team is. Granted, they might be inconsistent, so you never know who they're gonna beat. I'm just kind of sad that we always end up playing them later in the season because it seems like Texas is the best way to play.
They crescendo.
The best time to play
better.
them is in the very very beginning of the season because they always end up looking like, even if they're not bowl eligible, they always end up looking like a bowl caliber team towards the end of the season. They play USC. We'll talk about that a little bit. Again, if this game wasn't on the same time the Tech game is, I'd be glued to this game.
I hope they do replays in the stadium
to
check out how
Now,
they're
John
doing.
has a fun fact about how USC and the NCAA rules their record over Texas. You want to go and get into that, John?
I believe that season was completely called void for some sort of running back problem. Whatever they had nullified that season, so they decided to completely scratch the loss they had to
ridiculous.
Texas in the Rose Bowl 2004 or 5.
So as 05.
It's nuts. So they say their all-time record against them is 4-0, which made me laugh. It was pretty awesome.
We'll say that differently, but in terms of the
for sure.
NCAA records and the USC records,
Officially.
they are 4-0 against Texas in those two entities.
That's just gotta
that's nuts.
upset Texas
it's kind of
royally.
like right now in terms of weird stats. The Indians in MLB right now, they're on a 21-game win streak as of today. I just got the update right before we started this podcast, and I was listening to Mike and Mike this morning, and they were saying
Not too shabby.
that the longest win streak in MLB history is 26 games, but they went 12 wins tied, and then went 14 wins. So it's not a winning streak; it is a unbeaten streak. Okay, so and I looked it up on the Elias Sportsbook, and
So no losses.
Right, and they still they still consider it a winning streak because via Elias they don't count a tie as ending a losing streak or ending a winning streak. So it should be 12. There should be under a 12-game win streak and a 14-game win streak, but in terms of Elias, it is not. So that's pretty interesting. I don't. My goal was fired up about that this morning. I was laughing my tail off at his reaction because I don't know how many weeks are left in the MLB season, but they still have plenty of games to break it, I would imagine. But anyway, back to football. I think Texas, if they come out as inconsistent as I think they will. Yeah. They will be taken out behind the wood shed, one of those two.
I mean, that's fair to say. What is going to happen is they're going to get destroyed.
Now, Sam Darnold has not. I call him Sam Darling because he's the darling of the league right now. He's not a Heisman frontrunner anymore. Baker, after beating Ohio State, is now the Heisman frontrunner according to ESPN. I don't know where Sam Darnold ranks in that, but. I am looking forward to this game because I think Sam Darling. I'm just gonna call him that from now on.
He's like projected first pick overall or something.
He's him and Josh Rosen are up there.
Yeah.
But I think this is gonna be an absolute drumming. I think they're gonna get knocked unconscious. I'm about to sneeze. Pardon me. I feel it coming. I don't actually know when it's gonna happen. But in terms of other notable games, you want to get into some of those, John?
Yeah. Before we get into the most notable games, one last thing. With all the things with the Hurricane Irma stuff, that's been pretty nuts. Harvey barely's gone, and now Irma's basically have torn up a good chunk of Florida.
Now, is Harvey totally done, or is there still more rain coming? Has it died down all the way yet?
From everything I know, it seems to be fully done. It's just all rebuilding and billions of dollars of damage.
Right.
But amongst this, there's a lot of games in Florida that have been canceled with Irma. And so one game in particular, I was talking to my roommate, Nick, who actually got his appendix taken out, and while he was laying in his surgery bed, we decided to talk about football just to pass the time.
Why not?
I was hanging out with him, and so he said there was one big game that might make a difference because data points are something that's very important to the college football playoffs. Now let's say, because Florida State canceled their game against Louisiana Monroe, if they don't make it up, and they don't have that extra data point, and they end up going 9-2 on the season, or maybe they'll win a 10th game if it comes to maybe the ACC or whatever championship.
I don't think they're even going to get 9 wins.
But if that is the case, would that be enough for FSU to get to the playoff? 9-2.
Well, we've had the playoff for 3 years now or 4 years now? 3 years? 3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Out of the 12 teams who have gotten into their so far, there hasn't been a 2-loss team yet. So until I am proven otherwise, I will say that 2 losses means you're out.
Bummer.
That is a bummer. All right. So other exciting games. So there's a few. There's Louisville versus Clemson. That
is going to be a hell of a game.
We got the Heisman winner versus the remaining
that's in Louisville
champion.
because it was in Death Valley last year, right?
Yeah. Who do you have winning that game?
What's that freshman quarterback's name at Clemson? Wilkins?
At Clemson?
I don't know his first name, but I think his last name was Wilkins or Wilkinson or something like that.
He has some big shoes to fill.
He fills in the last 2 weeks. He's got an arm on that kid. I see Lamar Jackson taking over the game and winning.
And he's just so talented.
Because last year, Death Valley is a hard place to play.
He might not be the best quarterback, but he's definitely the best playmaker.
When I got my big fancy 55-inch Samsung TV, I watched the replay of that Louisville Clemson game in Death Valley last year.
Humble brag.
And I'm telling you, that crowd. First of all, it looked beautiful on my screen. All the stadium gets so hyped, but. That's a hard place to play. I think because Louisville has on field, they will win it this year. Is it Wilkins? Did you look that up?
And Kliff?
The Clemson quarterback?
Yeah.
No, his name's Bryant. Wilkins is
Bryant.
Arizona State.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to Wilkins when we get to the Texas Tech part. Cool. And so that game's only a 3-point spread to Clemson.
That seems. I mean, Vegas has made their living on sports stuff because that's why they're Vegas, because they're not usually wrong. But that seems like a very odd line to me in terms of it being in Louisville. And I mean, yeah, Clemson's going to be so good this year, but without Deshaun Watson and going against Lamar Jackson,
that's a tough one to bet on.
That is. I mean, I wouldn't get anywhere. I wouldn't touch that. I wouldn't touch that bet with a 10-foot pole. That's I would. Oh, you say Clemson is a 3-point favorite?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd take that. I think Louisville's going to take it. I really do.
Yeah, that's where I would go as well. Okay, so we've already talked about Baylor Duke, and we both say that Baylor hopefully will lose to Duke.
Hopefully.
And Texas
What's
at
the
USC.
line on that thing?
14 to Duke.
14.
Yeah, it's 14.
Are you serious? Duke is a 14-point favorite.
That's
nuts.
nuts.
It's at Duke, right? Okay, that's what I thought.
But I mean, they've lost 2 straight home games to FCS opponents.
That's ridiculous.
That's nuts.
I am shocked by that line. That's
14
hilarious.
points. I don't even know if I'd bet on Baylor in that line, even with 14.
I don't think
that's nuts.
Ooh, that's a lot of points, but yeah.
And so we've already talked about Texas USC and how they're gonna get taken behind the
I hope
woodshed.
it's a good. I hope it's a good game because they're hopping it up to be. But I think USC's gonna take care of it.
So Tennessee at Florida are 2 SEC teams that I'd say both of them are actually pretty overhyped right now.
Yeah, Tennessee last year started hot. They felt the cliff.
Tennessee had a lucky win already. I don't know if they could pull another one of those.
3 or 4 last season.
Yeah.
But Florida,
with the anemic offense at Florida as well.
They have a very anemic offense. Their defense, granted, they couldn't shut down Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines, but that's a good team as it is. I think Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines are going to make another push for the playoff this year. I didn't say get in, but I said push for it.
Yeah.
I take, and that's in Florida, and I believe Florida is an underdog on the way at home.
Florida's -4, which means they are 4-point favorites at home.
And I think that equates to about a 60% chance to win.
Anything over 50, right?
Right. I think my hunch says that. What's that? I see his face in my head, but I can't remember the head coach's name for Tennessee.
Oh yeah, I see his face too.
Yeah.
Butch Jones. I thought Butch. I just didn't want to say the wrong name.
Apparently he's on the hot seat. I didn't think he was, but I think he'll pull some magic out of his. I almost said butt. I think he'll pull some magic out of his hat, not butt. His hat.
Either or, whatever works.
Whatever magic comes out first. Ew. I think Tennessee will get that game on the road. I don't think Florida can score enough points.
All right. Are you ready for the big one? The one that we've been waiting for this whole time. The reason for this podcast.
Oh yeah.
No, we're not. One more thing, Scott.
So I just want to just speaking about that Tennessee-Florida game, I just want to remind you that Florida has not scored an offensive touchdown this season.
Are you serious?
Now, I know they've only played one game because of the rain, because of Irma.
Right.
They haven't been able to play. But against Michigan, y'all talking about their anemic offense, they have not scored a single touchdown.
Didn't they have like 2 pick sixes?
They had 2 pick sixes, but they have not scored a single offensive touchdown. Do you think... I guess we'll get into scores later, but just have that in mind.
That was against Michigan. I think Michigan's a better team than Tennessee, obviously, but I still think they can't score enough to win the game.
Okay.
That's fair to say. Man, that's a crazy fact.
By the way, just another little tidbit before we start with Tech.
Yeah.
Michigan's defense is for real. Did you see them? They look like Clemson.
They fly.
The Hem and Clemson have the same style. It's like 11 guys getting the ball as fast as they can. It's nuts. But John, if you want to go ahead and segue us, that'd be great to what we're here for.
So we went to a game in which a team has not yet scored a touchdown to a game in which I'm expecting quite a few touchdowns. Last year, it was a complete barn burner. And I'm, of course, talking about the Texas Tech versus Arizona State game this week on Saturday, 7 p.m. in Lubbock, Texas for the first time.
I love that little rundown description, John. That got me more hyped than I already was. I'm sweating right now. I'm so hyped.
And I had a sound effect, but I forgot it.
It is a 7:00 night game. It is a whiteout for all you Tech fans out there.
It is a whiteout at night. Night out.
I am not spending any money on this game that I already have because I bought my Rec Harvey shirt last week, so I have a white shirt with me. Luckily, because I don't wear much white. I wear black, red, or black, red, or gray, as a lot of people who know me know. Because if I'm not in a Tech shirt, I'm still in the colors. But Tech right now is a 7-point favorite, or when I wrote down these notes, they were. I don't know what they are now.
Yeah, 6.5, 7, somewhere around there. And
that equates to an 82.5% chance to win, according to ESPN. Which is...
I'm ready for those fireworks, by the way.
They're going to be sweet. like I think we touched on it earlier. ASU lost to San Diego State University 30-20 last week. I don't have much stats on that, John. If you want to tell us something you saw in that game.
Yeah, I can get into that. Let me find it real quick. Okay, ASU game 1, 37-31 victory over New Mexico State, and they allowed 18 fourth quarter points.
And that's not a bad team.
To a team, New Mexico State finished 3-9 last year in the Sun Belt Conference. So they're not coming off of any sort of great year, and ASU barely beat them by score-wise. Game 2 last week, they lost to San Diego State. They were a 3.5 point favorites at home, but they lose 30-20 to San Diego State, who ran the ball 279 yards on them, and ASU only ran the ball 44 yards. ASU was pass-heavy, got almost 300 yards of passing, but did not get the ball in the end zone enough.
That's nuts.
So it was almost as if they struggled offensively against that team, and the other team really wasn't as much of a competition. So they're now 1-1 coming into Lubbock. And where is that game aired on?
FSN, Fox Sports Network. And a little fun fact on that, Tech during the Kliff Kingsbury era is undefeated on the Fox Sports Network. So that's
a good stat we want to keep.
Right. In terms of the game, Nisby needs to wear him down. I'll say that first and foremost.
Okay.
Nisby needs to be last year's Ballage. Is that how you pronounce his name? Ballage?
I believe so.
Sorry, I'm knocking the table.
All good. Yeah, he needs to run over people, run around people,
right.
Do everything he can to look like that same power that we saw last year in Ballage.
And Ballage last year scored, I believe, 8 touchdowns on us. I think that was 8.
Yes, 8 total. I think he had 7 rushing.
As for last week, he went 33 carries for 123 yards and 3 touchdowns. So still a pretty productive day. Wait, that wasn't. No, because they only had 20. Oh, did they miss a field goal or something or extra point? Because he had 3 touchdowns last week.
It might have been because they got 20 points.
Yeah, right. That's weird. Okay, I read that. I was like, that can't be right. But I wrote it down from the ESPN, so I can't be wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
I guess, John, how do you feel about the night game being a whiteout?
I'm definitely
a little disappointed.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed. Actually, all the whiteout games that I've seen have been like pretty much day games.
3 o'clock games, 2:30
it's
games.
good to have that white color in when it's the sun's hitting you harder. It doesn't make this doesn't feel as hot as wearing a black T-shirt or something like that does.
For everybody at the game 2 weeks ago, that game was freaking hot.
When the sun's in your face at 3 p.m.
Gosh,
to 5,
that was
6.
brutal. I wore black because I didn't know what else to wear because I was an idiot. I don't know if you were black also, John, but I was sweating my tail off.
I remember
John,
being hot.
How do you pronounce his last name? John Schleif?
Schleif, yeah.
Schleif.
I don't know how to say it.
I just like saying his name. He wore a Tech poncho that he was drenched in sweat before the first quarter was over, and it was.
He had a big sombrero too. It was pretty fun.
I made sure not to touch him. But that game was hot. Again, you have a post on your wall saying "Stay from kickoff to Matador song." That was definitely a struggle last game.
Oh my goodness.
We've had some hot ones, but boy, it was hot.
Nighttime, I think I expect people to stay a little bit longer. Hopefully,
I sure hope so. And you know, it's always fun to have a blackout game with blackouts with the black.
But this one is a whiteout
game. If I can stop messing my words up, that'd be nice.
You're good.
To have a night game with a blacked out uniform and a blacked out crowd, I love that. But you know what? We have a Celebrate Cotton game every year. It's just a matter of when it falls on. And I would imagine, I don't know how early this game was scheduled in terms of the time of the day, but they were obviously, wanting to hype up the fans more than having an 11 a.m. game.
Yeah, it definitely helps, especially with last year's game and everything. So I want to say a few things about Arizona State, Texas Tech. Okay, Texas Tech is ranked 40th in the AP poll, got 2 votes for being a top 25 team. Not bad. They were 4 last week, but the bye week didn't really help anything. CBS, they have a ranking system, 1 to 130 basically, and they rank Tech 60th. And Arizona State in the same poll, they rank 79th.
It's a pretty good gap.
So I think that's pretty cool. I'd say
excellent.
Very excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah. So what I want to do real quick, you kind of started on it a minute ago, is I wanted to talk about the recipe for winning for Texas Tech.
Oh, it's
winning.
First and foremost, set the edge. You can't have Ballage go off for. I don't want him to have. Why are you laughing at me?
I was just about to say my points, and then you jumped in. It's good. You go ahead. That's one of mine as well.
I felt a little bit greedy last game, saying I wanted less than 150 yards. Granted, they blew my prediction out of the water and only let 81, so I don't know where to go now. I'm like Texas, being inconsistent. But I want to say whole barrage to. I'm gonna say the same as I did last game. Whole barrage to under 150 yards rushing.
Yeah, we'll do over unders in a minute as well. So here's my recipe for victory. All right, so I got consistency on Texas Tech's run defense. And my first point is set the edge against Kalen Ballage. Make ASU one-dimensional. Make the team someone that can't just run all over us. Right. And so last year, that sweep around the outside on the right, he did that play like 5 or 6 times, scoring on essentially the same play. They call it the Sparky formation. It's like a wildcat, really? But they call it the Sparky.
I hate wildcat personally, but that's fine.
Yeah, so my second point is establish the run game early, and that's for Tech. I want us to utilize what I call thunder and lightning. Woo! We finally have Nisby, a hard hitter, and Stockton as well.
I want the chant to catch. I want the bzz, bzz, bzz chant to catch on so bad.
The whole crowd gets buzzing. That would be pretty cool. Or even just chanting Nisby,
right.
Any of that would be cool. Win the turnover battle.
Yes.
We need to keep that positive ratio going. So we had 3-0 last week, and if we even get 2,
and now we're technically at 1.5 per week because we had a bye week. So we got to
get those stats
get
up.
That 1.5 ratio up.
So yeah, definitely need to keep that ratio going. That is crucial to win.
Yes.
I also said generate a pass rush on defense. We can't just leave him back in the pocket for 8 seconds.
We had a pretty good one the first week, if I remember right.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can keep that going.
Right.
Generate that pass rush, especially on 3rd and long. And this defensive lineman need to keep those hands up because they can bat down a lot of passes, especially with the guy that just gets set in his first read or whatever it is, like their quarterback has tended to do. And my last one is avoid offensive 3-and-outs. Once the first downs start coming, we will hashtag wreck their defense. And I looked up the stat. Last year they were 124th.
I love how you come out with all these hashtags.
124th out of 128, which is almost as bad as Tech's 128 out of 128 last year.
Wow.
So that might have contributed as to why we scored. It was such a high-scoring game last year. But if their defense resembles the one last year, we will score a lot of points at home against them. And so that's my last one. Cool. Is there anything you wanted to say about those real quick?
I think you covered it pretty good. I'd say that the biggest factor of the game is our 6th man. This is not basketball. Wow, I am an idiot. It's fine. Our 12th man. I'm not an Aggie either. I apologize.
You have to apologize for that if you're a Tech fan.
I don't know why I said 6th man. That's fine. But our home crowd is gonna make magic at the Jones. That's my key to victory, for the crowd to be obnoxious like I know I'm gonna be.
All right, and here's something from Scott real quick.
I appreciate y'all having me. I'm gonna have to leave here pretty soon because work.
Oh, boo.
But there were 2 things I wanted to throw at you. I agree, John, especially with the pass. Get some pass rush on them, to get them off. We only had 1 sack against Eastern Washington, and that was by I don't know his first name, but Jones.
Tony Jones.
Jones. And then we had 7 tackles for a loss. So I think we're doing a good job, but we definitely need that sack category to go up.
We need to set the edge. We need to get penetration up the middle.
And then here's my little trivia for the day that I want y'all to ponder.
Okay.
Are you gonna leave us without giving us an answer? Just make it.
Let me ask you real quick, and then you can think about it, and I'll give you the answer. When do you think the last time Arizona State won a road game was?
Ooh.
I don't think it was last year because they ended up going like 2-7 in conference, and they probably had at least a few more road games or home games than that.
Ooh, that's a good question.
I'm gonna say 2013 will be my guess.
Actually, I believe they won by 4 points. It'll be this Saturday will be the 1-year anniversary of their last road when they beat UTSA, UT San Antonio, which beat Baylor this past week. They won by 4 points. That was their last road win, a whole year. So I don't know. It makes me feel a little bit better because they were very similar. They won like their first 4, lost, won a 5th, and then they since lost.
And the Jones will be rocking.
Yeah.
It will be rocking.
That's pretty sweet. I was a little bit off on that one.
See you, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your input, Scott. All right. So now is my favorite transition of this entire podcast that I've created, and I hope you'll enjoy it. So this is fun facts about Arizona State.
That was amazing. I love that.
This is fun facts about Arizona State. So we got Brock Osweiler, who went to Arizona State. He had one good year with a 60-plus completion percentage and 4,000 yards. And then, now in the NFL, or I guess last year in the NFL, he had like a $15 million contract that was moved from the Texans to the Browns and then completely nullified when he signed with the Broncos. So he's expected to make $775,000 this year. And
he's still getting paid $15 million from the Browns.
Is he really?
Yeah, even being off the Browns, it's nuts.
Well, he's getting away with highway robbery.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway,
he's overpaid mediocrity is what he is.
So, I think he's only in the league because the dude stands at 6'7". He can see over the line like it's nothing.
I can't even imagine that.
But I mean, I guess some team hopes that he's going to like throw as well as he sees over the line or something like that, and he hasn't shown that at all.
No,
Actually, under pressure, he's shown that he throws the ball high, which leads to a lot of interceptions in the NFL. So yeah, that's what I got on him. I have Barry Bonds. He actually was an ASU alumni as well.
The big slugger.
And I definitely, I say check the entire team for steroids.
I was about to mention something like that.
The cheesy joke of the day by John Stewart. No, that was a cheesy joke, but it's pretty cool that Barry Bonds and Brock Osweiler both went to Arizona State. Did you know that the school is one of the largest total overall campuses in the United States? They have 80,000 undergrad across four campuses.
Really? Holy cow!
Only 42,000 of them are in Tempe, but there's 3 other campuses for Arizona State that have a lot of people per each one of those campuses. So I feel like they have a pretty good fan base because of that. Texas Tech, for perspective, it has a total of 36,000 in Lubbock.
Okay. Compared
to the 80,000 they have in total in the other one. So I was talking to Nick when he was on this hospital bed, and he said, "What is a Sun Devil? Like, you want to look that up?" And so I looked it up. And it's actually, I thought it was just like the devil, basically.
A little animated creature.
Like a Red Raiders, like a raider, but red. But it's actually a weather phenomenon that is essentially a dust devil without the dust. So they're basically...
air.
So they're basically air. They're invisible. So they named Sparky their mascot. A former Disney employee drew the original drawing of Sparky, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, I think he's basically...
A dust devil without air, or without dust.
It's much better that they went with Sparky.
Bizarre.
But, I mean, think about it. They're basically Satan. Like, we are the good guys, and they are the bad guys in this matchup. And here is what I think about Sparky.
You ugly, and
nah.
ugly, and your mother ugly, and your sister ugly. You just plain old ugly.
That is perfect.
I love that. Anyway, so that's what I got on Sparky. ASU... They tried to do a tortilla throwing tradition.
Posers.
And they tried that in 2014, and their stadium completely shut it down.
Epic fail.
Like, what do you mean by...
They just said no tortillas, and they just stopped it.
Like, they cracked down harder than Tech tries to?
I feel like they just didn't like it as much as Tech did, because Tech will do it anyway, even if they get caught.
Right, true.
And they just kind of shut them down, and to my knowledge, they don't still do that.
Yeah, I don't care how much security you put in the Jones. There will still be tortillas flying on Saturday afternoon.
I sure hope so.
Right.
And there's been a petition, actually, to legalize tortillas.
Wasn't that started by Nick Rentz, your roommate?
I know he was one of the ones that did it.
Okay.
I don't know if he started it. But here's something that's pretty cool. Tech has only faced Arizona State 3 times in history that I was able to find. Starting in 1999, we lost in Tempe. We lost in Tempe under Spike Dykes. I was like, were you born in that year?
No. Come on, Joel. Am I 19?
I was like, why 1999? But we were Spike Dykes, a pretty famous coach of ours. We lost 31-13.
Rest in peace.
Yes, for sure. In 2013, Kliff led Tech to a convincing Holiday Bowl victory, 37-23, which felt like a lot bigger. But man, I'll take a big victory over in a bowl game any day.
I hope I didn't just make an audio clip.
And last year, it was a total barn burner with ASU winning in Tempe, 68-55. It was hot. It was late. It was ridiculous.
I totally forgot that we played them in the Holiday Bowl. I remember. I actually hung out with friends instead of watching that game. Yes, shut me now. I don't care. But I actually hung out with two of my. Obviously I was a freshman then, and I came back for college for the winter break, and I was hanging out with some friends I hadn't seen all semester instead of watching the game. And I remember looking at my phone and just I was staying up to date, but it was just I was like, oh, we scored again. Oh, we scored again. Like it was surprising how much we scored.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
Right. It was the one of the few signature wins for Kliff Kingsbury and Davis Webb at the time.
Yeah, and Davis Webb, everyone was hyping him up to be the next big thing.
Absolutely.
He, of course, had a sophomore slump.
Right.
But we know that he ends up in the NFL.
You know what's crazy?
That's pretty good.
So within a year, hear me out here. Within a year, we have Baker Mayfield, Davis Webb, and Mahomes. Within a year, all three on campus at some point. Yeah. Which is a third-round draft pick, the front-runner to the Heisman Trophy currently, who is probably going to go in the first round, if I'm assuming myself, and the 10th overall pick of last year's NFL draft. Within a year, we have some dang good quarterbacks. And it's just, I was going to pose this question when we were talking about Baker Mayfield, but if he would have stayed, do you think Tech would be more in the limelight than they are now?
Well, here's a crazy thing that I think about this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a chicken and the egg situation.
Right.
Are the quarterbacks that come through Kliff Kingsbury's system really good, or is Kliff Kingsbury this guru? Because you can look all the way back to University of Houston.
I think it's more of him being the guru.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Because you look at University of Houston, Case Keenum ends up setting all these sorts of records. Then he goes to Texas A&M, takes a 3-star nobody Johnny Manziel and turns him into the biggest thing ever in like college football, like in recent history.
The biggest thing to have in A&M, and I don't know how long.
And then he comes to Tech and he has Davis Webb and Baker Mayfield, and then he has Patrick Mahomes. Like. He has the Midas touch for quarterbacks.
It's nuts how much like obviously we didn't know at the time, but it's crazy to think back of how much quarterback talent we had on our campus in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and like it's almost as if Kliff knows how to breed this character.
I if Mayfield would have stayed, obviously our opinion of him would be different. But I think he would have still been beat up by Mahomes. Because
Mahomes showed something special.
Right.
His first 4 games as a freshman, he showed something special.
Mayfield is a hell of a quarterback. I'm not taking anything away from him. But there's just something about Mahomes that I feel like he would have beat out Mayfield. Mayfield is super competitive, so he might have had that competitiveness edge.
Mm-hmm.
But Mayfield is kind of that loose cannon. He's got those short, stubby little arms, but he can sling the ball like crazy. And he just like it blows my mind how much quarterback talent we've had. I mean. And yes, Kliff hasn't been able to produce yet, but there's no question that he is a quarterback guru.
Yeah, for sure. And so what I take out of this game coming up with Arizona State is that it's a night game. It's on our turf.
I'm so ready.
The crowd is hyped. And just take a listen.
And I'll have a new car.
The 20, the 15, 10, 5, touchdown Red Raiders!
Let's freaking go.
I love that kind of call. That magic happens at the night.
That new little intro you have about the Seven Nation Army.
Yeah.
I love that, by the way.
Gets you pumped, doesn't it?
So pumped. And we decided to record this on a Monday instead of a Wednesday because we figured Monday we're coming off a weekend, and regardless of how good your weekend is, you have a case on the Mondays, and we wanted to be more.
Yeah,
we wanted to
record this on a Wednesday.
As hyped for the game as we could possibly can. So we held it off till Wednesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm ready.
It helps build the hype for sure. One thing I want to say for sure as well, we will be able to draw something from this ASU game. Like with the whole Eastern Washington, they're like it's a, but hear me out because, first game they're like, oh, it's an FCS opponent and they're still good, but it's not the same. We are playing Division I talent players.
Yeah.
Whether they're considered good or not, we'll see towards the end of the year. But right now, what we need to know is that we're not gonna be negative at the end of this game if we win. Oh well, we won, but they're a bad team.
For sure.
A victory is a victory.
It'll be at least an improvement from last year.
And I think a significant victory will make a big difference.
Right.
Like people will still be naysayers and say, well, yeah, but they're a bad team. But you know what? We'll know more about our run defense. We'll know more about our pass defense because they destroyed us on both of those last year, at the least, and at the most.
And we'll know more about what kind of arm Shimonic has on him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll learn more about Kliff Kingsbury's offense as well. So this is a game where we start to see some of those, hiding things go away.
No, you see,
more complex plays.
This is a big game, no doubt about it. I'm not questioning that at all. But I would say that in terms of knowing the caliber of the team, I would wait till Houston to make any kind of judgments on it.
Yeah, you can't say 10-2 or 4-8 in the first 2 seasons unless you're Baylor. You can say you're going to do pretty bad.
I said. Well, I didn't say anything yet. I'm about to say it now. Arizona State's a good team, but just something in my heart is just saying wait till Houston. I don't know what it is, but I am so apprehensive about that game that I don't want to make any rash judgments, whether good or bad, until Houston.
Yeah, we still need to take it one game at a time and everything, but that's for sure huge. Some other last few fun facts I wanted to say. They have a hand side. It's called the pitchfork. They just basically take their ring finger, hold it down.
Which looks really gross, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was like totally middle school. Anyway, but yeah, the whole pitchfork sign. Yeah, people are so immature. Another thing they do, speaking of immaturity, is they shake their keys to make noise sometimes.
Because the fans are the keys of the game, right? Ayo.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, it's just a really weird thing they do to kind of jest at the other team.
Because it's annoying, but it doesn't make a whole lot of noise.
I heard somewhere that they have 2 freshman cornerbacks, which makes me think, here comes the deep ball.
Light them up. So
let's test these boys.
In your opinion, was our play calling in the Eastern Washington game conservative or aggressive?
The first part, I think our failure was largely due to how conservative the play calls were.
I think it started out very, very conservative. I don't think we have room to be conservative in this game.
It was almost as if Nick's chains were finally taken off, and they were like, "Okay, we trust you."
And honestly, this administration can't afford to be conservative, because if we're conservative on one too many drives, then it ends up being the reason we lose. This Kliff cannot afford to be conservative. I think he'll at least more the offense, and it'll be all cylinders firing this game, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. So my last fun fact is that they have a victory bell, but we're gonna be the only ones that get to ring it this week.
Are you kidding me? The victory bell that I have mounted on my wall in my apartment is better than theirs. You got come on now.
That's great. So now is a segment I call Questions for Drew.
Oh, good Lord.
And I think some of these I've given you a preview, maybe not all of them. So good luck.
I have a test on Friday.
You gotta speak up.
That's the Questions for Drew intro. My first question for you is, what do you think about this game being a whiteout under the lights? And I didn't realize that we already talked about that.
It's
so let's go good or bad.
It's good.
What do you think?
I think it's. I mean, I don't think it'll matter in terms of the atmosphere of the game. It just in terms of aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to see all those light shirts in the dark. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Oh, that brings up the second point.
But I mean,
go ahead.
There's something that adds. There's something about night game, black jerseys, black crowd that adds a different element.
Yeah,
to the
that
game.
Blacked out gives you like that. They called it like murdered out or something like that, because it's just like black everywhere, and it's like pretty awesome.
The ASU game last year, that was nuts.
And it was the best environment too. Okay, so which brings me to my second point, kind of like cell phone lights. People turn on their cell phone light and kind of hold it up in the game. What do you think about that? Is it good or bad, and why?
I like it a lot, as long as it only happens once. I like it.
You don't want it like every play,
right?
Shaking the lights.
I like it. Like I think they try to do it in like the second quarter or third quarter.
I think it's a pretty fun thing to do.
It's really cool. It just gotta not have it be overdone. Cause
I feel like every time the lights came out, our team got worse.
Because one good.
Yeah, it could affect people.
What am I trying to say? One good moment. Sorry.
Okay.
What am I'm trying to put words together here. One good attempt at that. You know.
The whole stadium lighting up.
All you're looking for is a dang picture. Like really. I mean, I love that, but it's just don't do it like five times over the game, and do it on do it either when we have the ball or like on a third down when they have the ball.
And that was the thing. It seems like our team was like almost distracted by it.
I mean, I know I wasn't watching the game at all.
The pen's clicking. Cool. So here's another one, and I think hopefully we have a unanimous thing on this. What Tech uniform color combination do you want to see? Not throwback, but like helmet, jersey, patch, and all the way down to the
black.
In the whiteout game? Oh! You want to see black? It's fine. In the past we've had some problems with that.
I just had a laughing fit.
You're good. So what? Just tell me what you might want to see. It's okay to go all black.
White helmet, black shirt, white pants would be cool.
Cool. So white, black, white.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say full white, and be shining under the lights.
Like a color rush in the NFL.
Yeah, almost like a color rush. Of course, the red numbers will really pop on that white.
Right.
Especially in the dark. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So ASU's quarterback Manny Wilkins, he sits at about 70% completion percentage with 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on the season.
70%.
70%.
Dang.
Will he reach 300 yards passing today? And that's my first part of the question.
Saturday today.
Oh, Saturday.
Okay.
And will he throw his first pick?
He'll throw his first pick.
Okay.
I'm calling that already.
And will he reach 300 yards passing?
What did Shimanek have last game? Like 368?
Yeah, he had over 300 for sure.
If I was a betting man on this game, I would take the under.
Okay. You take the under 300?
Yeah.
That's what they got last year.
If I was putting an amount of money that meant something to me, I would say I would play the under on that game.
Okay, and this might be a painful question, but what impact will Kalen Ballage have on this game? And he's the opposing team's running back. How much will we see him in the Wildcat, or the Sparky they call it?
I hope the only effect he has on the medical staff because he tears his ACL. Oh,
that was pretty savage.
That was mean.
Should we cut that?
No.
No. Uncensored.
No. I
so what kind of impact
will
he have?
Anybody. I think he'll keep us honest. I don't think he'll have a 300-yard game again like he did last year.
You don't think he'll have a 126-yard, 8 touchdown game?
I think he'll make us load the box up more than we would like to.
Yeah, it might set up some one-on-ones on the outside.
Not that it'll hurt us in the long run, but I think he'll keep our linebackers honest. I think he'll keep Allen and Brooks honest in the backfield.
Yeah, that's fair. So you don't have a prediction on touchdowns or anything like that?
For Wilkins?
For Kalen Ballage.
Oh. Bet he has 2. I bet he has one that's I bet he has one in like a downage and goal situation, so short yardage, and then I bet he has one that's decently lengthy, like 20 something yards or something like that. I think he'll have 2. I'm repeating what I just said, but I'm going to say it again. I think he'll have 2. One in a bust him in the face kind of like goal line set within the 5-yard line, and one where they go. I bet the sweep will beat us once. I'll give him one on that. I'll give him
hopefully not that repeating situation like we had last week. All right, I have one last question for you. Is Texas back?
You have got to be kidding.
What do you think about this? Well, that got him too.
That made me laugh, dude. Dang it. First of all, that was fantastic. Stitched together all the sound effects. Is Texas back? No.
I agree.
I think they'll get beat by USC, and they'll be 1-2, and everybody will crash back down to reality after last week's game. I don't know how optimistic they were after last week's game, but at least they won.
Yeah, a win is a win, right?
But I don't know who they have at the USC, but I don't think Texas is back. I bet they finish. I bet they finish with the same record as us or a game behind.
Okay. So now is time for rapid fire questions with Drew.
Oh dear God.
Rapid fire questions. All right, so you have to answer yes or no, and you can't take too long.
Oh, we're fine.
So all these Drew has not heard. This is all completely new.
Just yes or no, no over under or no stats.
This is just the yes or no to what you think's gonna happen. All right. Does Tech continue the first game trend and run more times than they pass?
No.
All right. Will Shimanek keep his completion percentage over 75% this week? 86.7 is where it's at right now.
No.
Will Dominic Panazzolo spot kick footballs inside the 10 like last week?
Yes.
Say yes. If we win, will Texas Tech cover the spread?
What's the spread?
6.5.
Yes.
Can Tech get a safety against Arizona State?
No.
Who throws the first pick, Nick or Wilkins?
Wilkins.
I think that's the other guy's name.
Yeah.
Does Tech get a 4th and short stop?
No.
No. Will Tech score 50-plus points?
No.
All right. You know what that means.
Oh, snap.
The Rasta horn. So this is over, under, or push. So I'm going to ask you over-under questions, and you just give me an over or under.
Push mean again? I'm sorry.
Push means exactly that number.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
All right. So over-under. Texas Tech gives up 4 sacks.
Gives up 4 sacks?
Yep. They're
under.
Under. Okay. Over-under. Nisby breaks 100 yards rushing on the game.
Over.
Over-under. Tech scores 50 points. I guess I already said this.
Under.
Over-under. We hold ASU to 38 or less points.
Under.
Nice. Over-under. Kalen Ballage has 3 total touchdowns in this game.
Under.
Over-under. 5 wins this year for Baylor.
I'm taking the under. I would bet my house on that. I don't have a house, but I would bet. Yeah, that's under.
I wrote that a while back. Okay, over-under. 70 points in the game versus Arizona State. I'm talking 70 total points.
Oh, over. I'm looking at my prediction right now, and I'm saying over.
Yeah, definitely. I would say over as well. We had 123 last year, just to give you some perspective. Over-under. Tech recovers more than 2 turnovers. That includes fumbles and picks.
Push.
I'm going to push for 2. Over-under. 400 total yards on our offense from ASU. 400 total yards.
Repeat that again? Sorry?
400 total yards of offense from ASU. Like, they get 400.
So we allow that?
Yes.
400 yards.
They got 342 in the last game.
Oh, I'll say under.
All right. So that was it for over-under. So now we have one fact that I found pretty cool. The 2 games that we've played that have not been neutral sites, so not the Holiday Bowl against them, have both been in Tempe. Their average margin of victory was 15.5 points. So I'm just going to say that we have a 15.5 point advantage coming to our place. Because I'm going to say our home field advantage is just as strong as theirs.
That's spot on to my prediction.
Spot on to your prediction?
Yep.
All right, so this is going to be pretty nuts because I think I might have a similar prediction. So it is time for score prediction.
Woo!
Tell me, what do you have for score prediction?
45 Texas Tech, 30 Arizona State.
40. Okay, that's a pretty good score. I have it being a little bit higher scoring.
Okay.
My score prediction is
I have a lot of production.
is very productive. Yeah, 59-38.
Wow.
Texas Tech winning, and still, like I said at the beginning of the season, trying to keep teams
we
38
60?
or under. So I'm saying, yeah, we're pushing 60. I originally had it higher, but I decided to be a little bit more rational.
That's still pretty high to me.
So we'll see. Come this week.
That's bold. Dang, 59.
Yeah,
that's shocking to me.
There's going to be a lot of.
What was their score? 38.
Yeah.
Okay.
59-38, and that would take Tech
21?
to a 2-0 start, which would be very good. Yeah, that's what I got for score predictions.
21-point win.
All right, before we wrap this thing up, is there anything else?
I guess I'll touch on Zeke a little bit just because it's a topic out there that I want to just touch on real quick. I'm not going to put a bunch of legal jargon in your ear because I know you don't care about that or want that.
Yeah, give us a really quick rundown on that.
But basically, he's playing right now the NFL, what do they call it? I guess the people who run the CBA. The CBA stands for the Collective Bargaining Agreement, which is what the players and owners agree on. The NFL is pushing for what they call a stay, which is basically saying there's something detrimental for having Zeke on the field causes something detrimental to happen for the league and for the players, which is a far-fetched plan. But their deadline to file a stay, I believe, is either Friday or tonight. There was 2 different deadlines. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's called a stay. Basically, it's kind of like Zeke with the appeal. Roger Goodell handed out the suspension, and then Zeke appealed back to the NFL. It's kind of like that, to where Zeke asked for the same person to change his mind, which wasn't going to work. So we ended up having to get the temporary restraining order and in order to play the opener and however many games past that. The stay is basically saying NFL to the court system being like, hey, I know you already ruled on this, but I want you to reconsider. probably not going to happen. They're probably not going to get the stay granted because the courts are slow and B don't usually do that. My feeling of him playing the whole season has gone down a little bit in terms of my confidence. But
okay, so where are you at right now with the Zeke suspension thing?
Oh,
do you think a few games are going to happen, then it's going to come down?
No, I think he'll still play the whole season, but the odds of it cutting into a little bit at the end is becoming an increasing chance. It's not a very big chance, but it is there. The NFL is pushing for that. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think Zeke will play the whole season. It just the story is getting a little bit more complicated as we speak. So, other than that,
cool.
Good podcast. Again, just touch on this again. Thank you for the love and support. We are up over 300 subscribers. I looked at it.
Keep it going.
I looked at it before the podcast started, and we were at 309. So keep liking it, keep sharing it, keep loving it. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell your dog. I don't care.
Tell
what
your
you
moms.
Do. Buy a new iPod just so you can subscribe on that new one. And you can find this on SoundCloud and iTunes. If you're subscribed on iTunes, it'll automatically upload. SoundCloud, you got to seek out the account. It's called Reading Between the Lines. I say RBTL on this, but the full name is Reading Between the Lines. If you're just a social media goer, you can find it. I'm sorry, I keep clicking my pen. If you're just a social media goer, you can find it on my Facebook page when I upload it.
I'll put it on YouTube for mine as well.
It'll take you to SoundCloud, but if you don't know how to get to SoundCloud, you can find the link to that on my social media. But other than that, my name is Drew Parker. I'm your host here with my co-host.
All right, I'm John Sterrett. So next podcast, we're going to do both a recap and a preparation for University of Houston.
Absolutely, and I'm terrified, but it's fine. So until then, hopefully we'll see most of y'all Saturday night at 7 o'clock. If you want to come to a fun tailgate, Wesley Foundation, 2420 15th Street at 4 o'clock is when the tailgate starts.
All right.
Other than that, I recommend we'll see you Saturday.
Recommend.